Hello everyone, Toastmaster today. Hello Toastmasters, good evening to everyone. I want to introduce Roy Job. He has chosen the pathways to go up the ladder in the Toastmasters, and this is in the level 1. This is the second project, and it's a research project. He is going to talk about the Argentina crisis. That's his topic. And the objectives of this project to learn or review basic research methods and present a well-organized, well-researched speech on any topic. So I hope Roy did a great research and hope to hear about the Argentina crisis.
Thank you. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. I'm not a day trader or an active trader, but I usually keep track of the rated stock, hoping that at some point of time, if the value goes down, I can buy and keep it for some time. So, last August 13th, I woke up in the morning, I just looked at the chart. I saw one of the stock, the value became like 55 or 60% down. So I was ecstatic, even though I am sad that so many investors would have lost money. But I thought, okay, let me have a quick glance. What is going on there? So the companies which are headquartered in Argentina are all having the same fate, all down 60% or more than that. So I thought, okay, this is the right time to buy, right? Then the usual phrase came to my mind. That's a phrase related to market. Don't try to catch a falling knife. It might, if you don't catch it properly, it might come and kill you. Right? So then I thought, okay, let me do some research on the Argentina economy and see if there is any chance for them to come back, so that I can invest some money on that. So that's how I started doing the research, and I was interested by getting some of the information. So I thought, okay, let me share that with you. So in the early 1900 or until 1930, Argentina was the richest countries, one of the richest countries in the world. And if you see the per capita GDP, it was a number 1 at that time. And the immigrants, that time they pondered whether to choose New York or Buenos Aires, that is the capital city of Argentina. So that rich they were, and many of them migrated there and became so successful. And they would have never imagined that their hard-earned money would have gone on a smoke in a couple of decades. A country which developed as a superpower, it became a case study for the economic student in a very short duration. So Argentina's fate changed after 1930. There was a military coup. This happened after 3 consecutive presidencies, democratically voted and won. And the military coup, the coup actually changed the fate, or altered the fate of Argentina. Even though it didn't last long, it changed the way the governments acted, in the sense when they were by 1945 it was Juan Diego. He became president. He was able to suppress the military, but his government followed a path which is based on fascism. And after the World War II, most of the other countries, including US and the countries in the European continent, they all participated in unprecedented expansion of international trade to improve their economy. But Argentina's path was completely different. They relied on so-called import substitute industrialization. So based on, so that's the government policy relied on replacement of imports to grow the internal jobs, also to reduce the dependency on the foreign currencies. That was more to a political in nature. It's not an economic suggestion which they follow. The powerful governments basically alter the price by implementing import taxes and export duties and giving two different exchange rates. They continued that policy until 1999. By the time the Argentina was already got into a deep recession, and President Fernando came into power, and he was able to dismantle this import substitute industrialization. But he didn't get a lot of support from the two houses because his party lost by that time. And then there were two consecutive from 2007 until 2015, President Cristina, she was very popular among the lower income voters because of her pro-human policies, giving more subsidies, increased government spending, and then basically sealed Argentina from other global markets. So that again increased the inflation, and also the poverty rate reached around 29% by 2050. But that time she was still popular among the voters, the low income voters. 2015, Mauricio came into power. He was very good in dismantling or act structural reforms, and also to open up Argentina trade and markets to global, to have our competitive trade. But the actions were not sufficient enough to take Argentina to next level. They were still struggling with debt and inflation, and also poverty. But by 2019, this year, his second term, he's facing the election. And what happened was, in August 13, the primary elections were going on, and the result came, and he lost. And market was actually happy with the rule, the Mauritius rule. And market actually acted very differently. So that was a crash which happened, which I was mentioning. So when he lost, the next option was the Cristina coming back to power. That is a suicide for Argentina. So that is what happened. Okay, so that was the primary reason for this particular incident which I was talking about. So to conclude that, superpower can be go for a toss in a few years if the policies are not implemented properly. And more, if I say the protectionist policies it might help to support some of the industries for some time, but it may not help to grow. Rather than we should support competitive trade. So that was the biggest mistake Argentina did by doing the protectionism. And in a lighter note, this is not the time to buy the stock. We should know who is going to come into power and what is the economic policy they are going to take. That's it.